Essentials communication skills. We will be talking about this in this particular presentation right now. Welcome everyone to the wonderful video which we will be witnessing as of this moment. Let us understand what is the agenda for the day. How do we go across with it? Number one, we need to define and understand communication, the communication process thereof. List and overcome the filters and barriers in the communication process. That is what we are talking to be. We should ensure the things that is going to impact upon it, upon the outcomes of the interaction that is there. So practice. One thing which I want to keep on saying about it is keep on practicing active listening. If you don't understand active listening or deep listening, you will not be able to be a good communicator in the first place. And that is what needs to be done. So let us forward to the verbal and non-verbal communications, which are essential part of any communication skills are all about it. Remember, communication is an art of transmitting information. It's an art of transmitting ideas. It's basically how you display your attitude from one person to another. Communication is the process of meaningful interaction among human beings. Its essence is all about personal processes, occurs between people, involves a change in behavior that we are looking forward, means to influence others, expression of thoughts and emotion through words and action, tools for controlling and motivating people. It is a social and emotional process. Yes, we need to understand time and again that what exactly we will be talking about it. Communication is what we are ascribing ourselves. Let us understand in what is the most common methodologies or ways to how we communicate in general. So basically we talk and we think we have done a wonderful words as far as building relationship is concerned. Then there are people who don't even talk but also supplement it with written words, with memos, with letters, with mails, with intentions, stating it in clearly so that nothing has been left into interpretations. So that is with this, they might think that this is complete communication, but what do we happen is how it is being projected, the visual image or body language, which might be unconscious and whatever, despite of your best of intentions, probably because there is enough not enough attention being paid to the attitude, your body language and visual images might portray a different meaning altogether. So here we which we need to understand time and again as what we are going to go about it. Yes, the most common ways still remain spoken words, written word, visual image, and body languages. Remember, the types of communications in an official decorum is all about vertical in nature, be it the downward communication or the upward communication. Downward communication is a person doing it with authority, so it is highly directive from senior to subordinate. It is basically indicative of what is expected from the subordinate to be done. It is just an information basis, probably not even feedback has been solicited in this particular communication. But then what is happening with an upward communication? I'm still with the vertical communication. It's something which been communicated from below, and it should have a tonation, a proper language, and it basically is going to solicit information, cooperation, and affirmation about certain activities that needs to be carried forward toward it. What happens to in cases there is a lateral communication or horizontal communication which happens among colleagues, among peers? How do we go about it? It is more or less a sharing of information that happens in modern business environment. Communication extend beyond written and beyond the oral communication or words. It's the visual dimension, for example the televisions and things like that, that comes and plays an important role altogether. We need to understand this. How many of us do it, I am not very sure, but yes, this is what is expected and which is needs to be done. Communication networks may be of formal networks and informal networks. Remember, virtual vertical as per the chain goes is command with a hierarchy, and informal network is where it's free to move in any of the direction. It may skip formal chain of command and likely to satisfy social and emotional needs. This is what we are looking for, as to facilitate certain accomplishment that comes around it. Let us understand the hierarchy levels. Now we are talking about downward communication or upward communication. Look how we have done it with communication which goes as downward from hierarchical level on a vertical, from executive directors to the vice president, from vice president to assistant general managers to the managers to the supervisor to the foreman and to the employees of the workers, as the case might be. Or should I say the upward communication would be foreman to supervisor, supervisor to manager, to managers to the assistant general manager, assistant general managers to the vice president, uh, vice president to the executive directors. So this remains an upward communication. Let us understand the horizontal communication. Remember, we are talking about essentials of communication skills. In the horizontal communication, it is supervisor 1, supervisor 2, supervisor 3, and the manager that comes around it works in tandem. So in between is the in the same hierarchy, the horizontal communication take place, and that is what we are looking forward to it. Remember, communication process has two entity at all. The message is always there, the channel is always there, the medium is always there, and the feedback is what we are looking into it. So we have the sender, we have the message, receiver comes in the medium, and the response is thereby. So but then we should be talking about the noises or the disturbances or the interference, or should I say the barriers that comes into the communication. Now this is a barrier which might be due to the interpretation part, might be due to the medium part, might be due to the channel part, you name it, and we have it. Let us understand the barriers of communication clearly with all of us to go forward towards it. Remember, barriers of communications are many. It can be a perspective, it can be generalized constructively with every person. The way you talk, the way you what should I say, the portray things is what the barriers is all about it. Let us tell you about the noises. The noises might be, the channel might be creating disturbances, and yet the exact words, the exact tone might not be as well replicated or reproduced on the other end because of the noise that comes around it. At times what happens is we are talking and we are communicating, but the utilizations of medium is inappropriate. Let a subordinate is asking for a leave, or he or she is not able to attend office, probably messaging his or her senior regarding his or her inability to come to the office. But that is that appropriate? Probably no. It is an inappropriate medium to be done. The best thing he could have or she could have done is to call the managers and explain his position as to why the delay and why the fact that he or she has not been able to make it to the office. So there are certain assumption and misconception. People assume a lot, and this assumption are often, more often than not, are misplaced. This misconception has to be removed time and again. What are the emotions that I'm talking about it? We are talking, we are in a different perspective. I might be saying it to you. Let me say about this particular presentation, the video that you are watching. Now somebody is watching this video with the at the luxury of his time, probably in his bed, but probably in an Android device, the screen is very small. Or the other person at the same time, at the same luxury of time, at his privacy, at his comfort zone, in a laptop. Probably the screen is big, and between these two person, the person watching this particular video on a mobile and the person watching it on a Android on a window enabled devices. So what is happening is they will have different interpretation. Emotions are being entangled, and what has been changed, my video is remaining the same thing, every content is going the same way, but the consumption pattern because of the screen size changes altogether, and this is what emotion is all about it. We speak about the language differences. Obviously, yes, not everybody is proficient with the languages, as the case might be been assumed. Poor listening skills, people often assume the fact that they are listening, but at the end of the day it has been found that they are not listening, and on the other contrary, they are basically hearing the word. They will not come to understanding everything about what has been expected of them. Now this is what we need to understand altogether. So poor listening skills is one of the major role that comes and plays around it. We need to understand, we need to assimilate, and probably go ahead with it. So how do we decide what is to be done and what is not to be done? This is one of the parameters that needs to be understood time and again. And that is what I say essentials of communication skills thereby. It is called the distraction process. We might be obsessed. One of the most creative obsession that comes around it, even for the same example that I have said it from the person with the mobile watching this video, or should I say the Android devices, or person watching with the window enabled devices. The mobile, there is a message coming out, springing up, or there is a call that is coming up, is a disturbance to the consumption of this particular video, and that is what is distraction. For the mobile person, it might be a complete distraction. For the Windows enabled person, he might actually pause this video and watch it and continue to watch it after the attention has been given to the mobile call that has been ringing. So there are distraction, and I've solicited only few of an example for your understanding altogether. Let us understand what has been meant by hearing and listening thereby. So hearing is the physical process, is all about being natural, being passive. Listening is a physical as well as a mental process. What we are talking is active listening, learned process. It's a skill that needs to be understood. Listening is difficult, dear. Listening is difficult. You choose to participate in the process of listening, but probably you end up just hearing the fact that comes around it. So that is what is important, which needs to be understood. Listening is deep listening, having perspective, having paraphrasing it, questioning it, inquiring about the statement as to what is the problem as the case might be. So we come to something called value listening, listening to others as an elegant art. Good listening, reflect courtesy, good manners, listening carefully to the instruction of the superior, improve competence and performances. The result of poor listening skills could be disastrous in business employment and social relations thereby. That is what we are looking forward to. Good listening can eliminate a number of imaginary grievances of employees. Good listening skills can improve social relations and conversation. Listening is a positive activity rather than a passive or a negative activity as is been perceived to be. This is what we are looking forward. This is what we actually aspire to be about it. And that is what we need to show it time and again to every one of us. Yes, good listening can improve social skill. Good listening can improve relations. Good listening can have productive conversation. Isn't that a wonderful thing that needs to be done forward to it? We need to value listening. But what do we end up doing? We end up doing just hearing or going through the motion of listening, as the case might be. Remember, poor listening skills can spoil relations. Poor listening can spoil the most important thing that exists between two-person. That is called trust. People try will tend to trust you lesser and lesser if you are not walking the talk and if you are not listening. Probably that is what we need to understand. Remember, listening is a positive activity rather than being a passive or a negative activity. Now let us understand the essentials of communication school, what needs to be done and what needs to be avoided. Let us follow the do's first. Always think ahead of what you are going to say. This is what I keep on saying it to every of my audiences. Use simple words. Do not use a flowery language altogether. I understand you might be proficient in your linguistic ability, but not everybody is as proficient as you are. Please come to their level to communicate. Please ensure that the message that you want to convey has been received in the right spirit. Increase your knowledge in all aspects. Increase your knowledge in study hard, and before you utter something from your mouth, you should be ensuring that you have read well enough before you uttering it out. Speak clearly and audibly. Check twice with the listening whether you have been understood or accurately or not, or ask them to paraphrase them altogether. This is what I keep on saying around time and things. We need to understand every now and then as to what has been done and what can be done and what can be improved. Yes, while listening, always make notes of important points. Always ask for clarification if you have failed to grasp your other point of view. Repeat what your speakers has said. Check whether you have understood accurately or not. This is what we are anticipating thereby. Now I will tell you that uh, the avoid how what are the things that needs to be avoided or every now and then as far as communication is also is to be spoken around. Do not, I repeat, do not instantly react. Mutter something in a anger. Never ever promise when you are angry something. Whenever, never ever have avoid when you are mentally upset. Please avoid communicating. Do not use technical terms and terminologies. The linguistic fellows that comes in your mind every now and then, please avoid them. Do not speak too fast or too slow. Do not do not be in a such pitch that things are not being heard clearly. This is what is very important. This is what we are aspiring to be. This is what we are looking forward to us as such. Now that is what needs to be ensured time and again. Never ever, if I may say so, interrupt the speaker. Let the speaker finish his sentence or her sentence, her idea. Let them follow through altogether before you come up with your statement all by yourself. This is what is required. This is what has been the demand. That is what we are speaking about it. So, uh, even if I do not say anything, do not assume that everybody would be understanding. Always put in your best effort. Always put in your best effort and leave the rest, but never leave any stone unturned. Never. That is what I will be talking around it. So do not jump to conclusions that you have understood everything, and that therein I come to an end as far as what to avoid for an essential communication skills are concerned. Now let us understand, if you have a legible communication skill that is there present out there, we need to go about it as on when on basis, right? We will be talking about it, when to go, how to go, and how not to go about. So let us improve our pronunciation. Let us work on the modulation of the work as the case might be. How do I come across? What has been affected and how do we go ahead with it? Avoid reading or watching or listening part of it. That is what we need to understand every now and then, and how we proceed altogether. Practice mediation, good thoughts, think, speak clearly altogether. Do not speak too fast. Use simplest of all vocabulary. Look presentable and confident, and that is what we are looking around here. Yes, we need to always improve our intelligent quotient. We need to improve our knowledge. So how do we go about it? Interact with quality people. Interact with people who have some sort of resemblance and has an authority in a subject before you come and put forward your perspective altogether. This is what I will keep on saying to you, all of you, every now and then. This is what needs to be understood. Yes, practice and mediate thoughts thereby. Let us understand how to improve our body language. I'll just give you certain tips in the subsequent two slides before I wind up this presentation altogether. First and foremost, keep appropriate social distancing. Never encroach upon the personal space of another person. Touch only when appropriate. Take care of your appearances. Be properly groomed, appropriately groomed. Keep your germs to yourself. If you are sneezing, put a hanky, cover your nose. Please ensure that the proper hygienic materials have been taken care of. You should maintain the proper decorum. Be aware of what people are giving. People often give false cues, so maintain an eye contact, smile genuinely, be courteous, and be resembling whatever has been going through your touchpad. Now, this is what I keep on saying as far as how to improvise on your body language. Simple tips: appropriate distance, touch only when appropriate, take care of your appearance, be aware. People often give false cues, maintain eye contact, and smile genuinely. Remember, success beckons you. You are going to achieve the epitome of success in this new global and diverse workplace. And if you have to achieve it, it is an excellent communication skill which will help you achieve that success. With this, I wind up this particular presentation. Thank you for watching this video.